Hi everyone, it's Louisa Tanner-Munson from Feel Good Astrology, and it's the new moon today. It's the new moon in Gemini, and so I thought I'd just quickly stop by very, very briefly to. It's so funny that I said it's the new moon because actually, while I was wryly smiling at the start, it's because my husband pulled a Mooney to try and put me off my words. Such is the fun of living with Mr. Munson. Anyway, let's have a look at this new moon and have a look at what we can expect. A lot of people choose to use the new moon as a time to reset their thoughts and feelings, to make an intention about how they want to proceed with the month ahead. It's a bit like having a new start. I like to think of it in that way. So let me just share with you now some of the features of this new moon. So I've just brought it up. Right. So it's, first of all, it starts at 12:30 p.m. today. So really, really shortly. It's pretty imminent. That's based on London time. I don't know where you are in the world. Let me know if you're watching live. But you'll see that it takes effect at 9 degrees in the sign of Gemini. So if you are born around today's date, if your moon or your sun are at 9 degrees in the sign of Gemini or 9 degrees in the sign of Sagittarius, completely opposite, you will have a very, very strong resonance with today's new moon. Likewise, if you've got anything at 9 degrees in the sign of Virgo or in the sign of Pisces, this new moon will be very catalyzing for you, and it will really help you to get your act in gear. So, the sign of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, they're all known as being mutable. And what that expresses is the quality of changeability. So all of those signs, I say we because I'm one of them. These signs have a very laid back kind of energy. We're very sort of flexible. We're very much about serving others and very, very much about going with the flow of things. We're not very stubborn signs. We're more known for our resourcefulness in changing things. So there's a lot of that programming with today's new moon. Now, in particular, if you've got something in your birth chart at 9 degrees in the sign of Libra or Aquarius, then today's new moon will actually be quite useful in as much as it really feels like things are just flowing in a beautiful and easy way. So it's less challenging than the other signs I mentioned, but it's a lot more flowing, and it's a lot easier to find grace and balance in your day-to-day. But anyway, what I really want to look at is the kind of coding of today, like what else is happening today in the chart. So we can see that the sun and moon are both at 9 degrees. Now, what are they connecting with? That's the interesting thing. And the first thing that I think is worth pointing out is this very, very tight conjunction here. Hopefully you can all see my mouse. This tight conjunction between Jupiter and Aries in the sign of, and Mars in the sign of Aries. Now, Jupiter had just gone into the sign of Aries just last week. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's about our hope, our optimism, our dreams. When it was in the sign of Pisces for the last 9 months, it was really holding on to the energy of kind of expanding our soul and making us dream. But it was kind of very private. And it was very emotional, and it was very hidden. The sign of Pisces is really known as the sign of daydreaming and the unconscious mind. So we were thinking lots of very big emotional thoughts, and keeping it all in our mind's eye. So we weren't really taking action. Now that Jupiter has gone into the sign of Aries, which is the sign of like the go-getters, really taking action. What we're seeing now is the time for us to start to manifest those dreams that we've already been thinking of. Now is the time for us to release all the pent-up emotion and start traveling in a kind of straight path. Now is the time for us to feel very clear. And then we've got Mars, which is actually the ruler of Aries, in the sign of Aries, in a conjunction with Jupiter. So you've got the Mars energy is about definitely taking action. It's about boundaries. It's about putting up a fight. It's about taking action. It is very yang as opposed to Venus's yin. It's the masculine principle basically. So we are hyper vigilant. We are quite fiery in this month ahead, it's fair to say. And when we feel like we're being triggered, we're going to put up a fight. most people are going to put up a fight. So it's not just you that might be feeling a little bit testy. You might find everyone around you is also very, very quick to take offense. At this particular time of the new moon, anything to do with offenses and triggers and where we think things are going wrong is just going to be it's going to be crazy. Now, these guys are in a sextile with the moon and the sun. What this means is if you're setting about any kind of new intention in this month ahead, you've got the energy and the fire behind you to do it. Hopefully, you're not sort of reacting emotionally and defensively, which is also assumed. But it's also, you could be fiery and bright and clear and direct, and that will help you with the new moon energy. Like the new moon is about a new start, and the sign of Gemini is a new start, I think, in getting your facts really, really clearly laid out. You've got this, the next time we have a full moon, it's going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Gemini and Sagittarius work together. So the energy of Gemini is about facts and not much else. It's like A plus B equals, like 1 plus 2 equals 3. That's like an established fact, or that we've got so many letters in the alphabet and 5 vowels, and that's established in the English language, and possibly on lots of others as well. The sign of Sagittarius is about context. So it's not just about the facts, it's what the facts mean. And so what we're going through in this next 2 weeks is we are coming alive and becoming fiery and quite possibly defensive, or being able to stay very, very sure of ourselves in our own boundaries and know what's ours and what's not ours. And we're finding the facts. We are finding the truth. And I say that in kind of bunny ears, actually, because, we never really can tell what the truth is, even when because where do you get your information from? Are you getting it from the media? I have to say, Gemini is definitely the sign of the media. It's the sign of news. It's a sign of, we get given these facts all the time. We assume they're the truth. Not always. In fact, I would say very little of what we hear on the news is actually accurate. It's more of a performance. It's almost like it's a movie. It uses very inflammatory information that's going to trigger us to make a quick decision about what our views are. And so I do see also, whilst this is a great time to start things, in the background of this next 2 weeks, we are going to be played quite a bit in terms of what are facts and what aren't. And our responsibility is to find it out ourselves. By now, you should realize that a lot of the things that you hear aren't actually true. And that the moment you've heard that something is true, you might hear 3 or 4 different other accounts of other truths. And what do we do? Normally, we just decide which source we believe is the most reliable or which seems the most honest. But actually, we cannot know anything unless we find out for ourselves. And so this is I think the big thing about this 2-week period up until the next full moon. It is really awakening a thirst for truth and a thirst for our truth, and also a search and a thirst for news, like real news. Like, my question to you is this: what is your news right now? Like we've been in this position of receiving, and that has really I think been epitomized by Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. We've been receiving information about what the news is, and how we should feel. We've all had emotional reactions. Now, as Jupiter's in the sign of Aries here and in a conjunction with Mars, we can become the news. We can go and find the news, and we can find out what is truthful, which is what this new moon is about, and work out our new position. So I really see this next 2 weeks as being absolutely clarifying. But that's not all. There's lots of other things going on. So another thing that I think is important to bear in mind is right now, Mercury is retrograde. The retrograde actually started in the sign of Gemini here. It's going back to here. And as of the 2nd in the UK, the 2nd of June, and the 3rd of June in the US, it starts to go forwards again. So in these next few days, Mercury's still working it out. He's still kind of, when Mercury goes retrograde, what we realize about information and communication is that we actually need to also tune into ourselves. So we realize that information is not just about facts, what we've been told, but that there is this fact teller inside ourselves. Like, it's called our intuition or our sixth sense or our gut feelings. There's a lot more truth in that when we realize, and we've been kind of persuaded out of it, educated out of it. And so Mercury retrograde is an indication of that. From the 2nd and 3rd of June, so just in a few days' time, it will start moving forwards again. And I think by around about the 20th of June, as things as Mercury comes out of its retrograde shadow, we will be really cooking on gas. We will really know what is true and what's not. We'll really feel it. So I do think this is a big time of revelations. It wouldn't surprise me if there's lots of court cases and lots of information coming at you from all angles, which will be deeply shocking and surprising. Now, why do I say deeply shocking? Well, we still got this square between Uranus and Saturn. It's still just playing out. And also Uranus is in a square with the vertex, which is very much about what the universe is wanting us all to focus on in this time ahead. It is shocks and new starts. It is about cutting off from the old and embracing a new way and finding your new path. Things that are nice about this chart, I think, is Venus is in Taurus now. So that's also assuring us that we can start to feel compassion. So again, when we're thinking about truth, one of our questions is, how can we think compassionately with what we know? How can we act compassionately with the truth that we know now? And so I think that's also a strong theme. Anyway, this was just a brief message, really. It was just to, give you a sense of what's been going on and what we're leading into. I can see there's no comments here. So thank you for joining me, for those of you that have. Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to set your intentions, it is literally happening in 5 minutes' time. Sit down and think, what is true for me right now? What is true for my situation? How can I find peace and compassion in that truth? How can I not be swayed by other people's truth? Now, that's a big one. So I really see that this 2 weeks ahead until the full moon is absolutely about our intention, our authenticity, and really feeling like our solar plexus, that area of our gut is activated finally, that we're not so cut off from our head, like we think we are just walking heads, walking brains. I think it's really about us reconnecting to the inner truth. So there's a lot going on. I probably will do an update for June, just to give you a little tease as to what else to expect. But anyway, take care. If I can help you at all, then just contact me. It's louisatannermunson@gmail.com, or you could just go straight to www.feelgoodastrology.com. Anyway, lots of love to you wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.